Uhuru, brothers and sisters. My name is Alex Morley. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Boundaries, uh, where we try to bring you news and information from the African nation and from the international socialist movement. Uhuru, brothers and sisters. Again, my name is Alex Morley. I am the chairman of the African People's Socialist Party in the Bahamas, and I head up the front for the African Socialist International for the Caribbean and South American region. Uhuru, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to get straight right into the stories that we have this week. Today is September 22nd, 2019. First thing I want to say, brothers and sisters, is hello, Mama Africa. How are you? I'm feeling fine, and I am hope you're fine too. If I was that's Garnet Silk. If I could have sing, I would have bust off some Garnet. But Uhuru to Africa, Israeli to E Africa, Israeli to E Africa. It means Africa is our land. Uhuru to Ghana, Uhuru to the Gambia, Uhuru to Jamaica, Uhuru to Cuba, Uhuru to Barbados, Uhuru to Trinidad and Tobago, Uhuru to Grenada, St. Lucia and the Grenadines, Uhuru to Libya, Algeria, Egypt, Ethiopia, Ghana, Venezuela, Brazil, Colombia, London, Paris, Belgium. Uhuru to all of the brothers and sisters around the world. Uhuru. Israel too, E Africa. Israel too, E Africa. Africa is our land. Brothers and sisters, yesterday, September 21st, was the birthday of Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of an independent Ghana. I have a quote here from Kwame Nkrumah. He says, all people of African descent, whether they live in North or South America, the Caribbean, or in any part of the world are Africans and belong to the African nation. Are Africans and belong to the African nation. So basically, Kwame Nkrumah was trying to say, wherever you is in the world, you part of the African nation. I stand to that. And brothers and sisters, every black man and woman should know who Kwame Nkrumah was, but we don't. Capitalism chooses, it lionizes who it wants to lionize. It chooses our heroes and the people that we should look up to. Uh, Capitalism chooses it lionizes our heroes, or it chooses the persons it wants to lionize for us, because capitalism wants to keep the lion asleep, and the lion that it wants to keep asleep is Africa, brothers and sisters. Kwame Nkrumah was not the only one, but he was one of the great ones who stood for a united socialist Africa, to tear down these borders that these Europeans have created. Wherever we are in the world, we belong to the African nation, and Africa itself. All these borders need to be torn down, and all the resources and all the people need to be organized into one united movement, moving for African people and trying to liberate the whole of Africa. So Kwame Nkrumah, we don't know about them because they haven't lionized Kwame Nkrumah, brothers and sisters. We gotta lionize Kwame Nkrumah. They want to keep the lion sleeping in us. Right now in the Bahamas, because of this war between China, the so-called trade war between China and the U.S. There's a sense of ultra-Bahamian nationalism that's going on in the Bahamas, and there's nothing wrong with loving where we are, who this country, this land, and who we are, and the things that we have done on this land. But our history didn't start in 1967. It didn't start with Columbus. It didn't start when the Lutheran adventurers brought Africans here. African people have a long history that started before coming to the Bahamas. So it's not that we shouldn't love the Bahamas, but it ain't the Bahamas they fighting over, brothers and sisters. It's Africa they fighting over. Africa. Sidney Poitier didn't win. When Sidney Poitier went up to accept that award, being the first black man to win a role and a lead, win that award for a lead role. He didn't win it for the Bahamas. He won it for Africa. Africa for black people all around the world. And the Bahamas doesn't play, we play an important part, no more important than Jamaica, no more important than St. Lucia, no more important than the African brothers and the sisters in the United States. But the Bahamas, just like every other place where Africans are, we will play an important part and turning this wheel, turning this ship back to Africa, changing this world, changing this world from the foundation where the African workers and the people and the farmers, where they could get the fruits of their labor, and where we could develop this world in the right way, in a more equal way, in a more just way. They fighting over Africa, brothers and sisters. That's what they fighting over. They ain't fighting over peas and rice and macaroni. They fighting over Africa, because Bahamians have a role to play and turning this ship back to Africa. That's what I want you to know. Africa, that's who we is. We is African people. Africa, we gotta find out, play our role in the liberation and the unification of Africa. Africa, is really too. Africa, is really too. Africa. The bear, the eagle, and the dragon fighting right now. But you know what they fighting over? They fighting over the sleeping lion. The sleeping lion. And that's the 1.5 billion African people who stretch out worldwide, who need to be connected, brothers and sisters. That's what they fighting over. They fighting from keeping the lion. The lion, they want the lion to be disconnected. But the lion gotta unite. That's how the lion can feel its power. The lion gotta unite with Jamaica, with Barbados, Trinidad, all the other places with Africans around the world. That's how the lion go fight the eagle. That's how the lion go fight the Chinese. Not 300,000 versus 1 billion. It gotta be 1 billion versus 1 billion. And not competition, because our aim is to end competition in a new socialist world that we trying to build better relationships with people. But my point is to bring a balance of power to the world. The lion got a roar, brothers and sisters, and that lion is African people, the unity of African people worldwide. The unity of African people. Let the lion roar. Let the lion roar. Africa, Africa, Uhuru. Brothers and sisters, that's what I wanted to say. First thing I wanted to say. So Uhuru to Africa, Uhuru. Second thing, brothers and sisters, it's been a couple of weeks after Hurricane Dorian. That's what we've been. That would have impacted the Bahamas about. I think it's about being 3 weeks now, and what we've been doing, the African-centered community in Nassau, what we've been trying to do is organize and have meetings to try to see the best way that we could assist in this relief process, brothers and sisters. There are many persons in the Bahamas who were affected by Hurricane Dorian. They had to their homes were destroyed. Many of those persons have left the country. Many of those persons are actually in the capital. So it's our job as our brother's keeper, touch one, touch all, is our job to make sure that we look out for our people, all of our people. And brothers and sisters, the African United Coalition, which is a group of African-centered organizations in the Bahamas, have come together, and they're going to launch a campaign. The campaign is called the Take It to the People Hurricane Relief Campaign. The Take It to the People Hurricane Relief Campaign. And let me just read a little about what the campaign is about. It says, Uhuru, brothers and sisters, the Africans United Coalition is inviting your organization to participate in the Take It to the People campaign. The purpose of this campaign is to, 1, bring relief, food, water, and supplies to persons living in shelters as a result of Hurricane Dorian's impact. 2, to provide entertainment and recreation to persons living in the shelters through art, drama, music, and sports. And three, to provide the space and opportunity for people to directly participate in the relief process. The Africans United Coalition is partnering with community organizations and concerned persons to provide the tables, chairs, and any other equipment for each event. The main relief drive is the community concert in December 2019, in which we are asking the public to attend and to bring food and supplies to assist persons in the shelters. The goods collected at the community concert will be shared equally among the 4 shelters. The schedule for the Take It to the People campaign includes, number 1, a community movie night at the Calvary Baptist Church, Centerville, that's on Centerville off Collins Avenue, on Saturday, October 5th, 2019, from 6:30 to 9 p.m. So there's a movie night at Calvary Baptist Church on Centerville on Saturday, October 5th, 2019, from 6:30 to 9 p.m. Number 2, a community art show at the Salvation Army on Marquis Street on Saturday, November 2nd, 2019, at 6:30 to 9 p.m. That's a community art show at the Salvation Army on Market Street on Saturday, November 2nd, 2019, at 6:30 to 9, 6 from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Number 3, a community concert at the Fox Hill Community Center on Saturday, December 7th, from 12 noon to 9 p.m. It's a community concert at the Fox Hill Community Center on December 7th, for 2019, from 12 noon to 9 p.m. Number 4, a community panel discussion, Rebuilding After Hurricane Dorian. Rebuilding After Hurricane Dorian. That will be held on Sunday, January 19th, 2020, at the Blackfoot Bookstore and Culture Shop. That's the corner of Robinson Road and East Street. And that panel discussion will be held from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And the theme of the panel discussion again is Rebuilding After Hurricane Dorian. And that'll be held on Sunday, January 19, 2020, at Blackfoot Bookstore and Culture Shop, the corner of Robinson Road and East Street, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then number 5 is the Community Sports Day. The intended event, who we are in talks with, who the coalition is in talk with, is the Pilgrim Baptist Church on St. James Road, off Camp Road, and that'll be on Saturday, February 1st, 2020, at 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And that's the Community Sports Day at the Pilgrim Baptist Church on St. James Road, off Camp Road, Saturday, February 1st, 2020, at 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And we're in talks with the Pilgrim Baptist Church. All of the other places have been finalized, and I know we're going to get Pilgrim to come on to this campaign. That's on February 1st, 2020. That's the that's next year. The lady asked me, so what if the persons aren't there anymore at the shelter? Would we still do the event? And I told her, of course, the Africans United Coalition would still be there. The plan is to bring sports that day at the shelter. We want to use this opportunity to provide entertainment and recreation to persons living in the shelters through art, drama, music, and sports. So we have a movie night, art show, a community concert, a community panel, and a community sports day. First thing is the community movie night, brothers and sisters. That's on October 5th, 6:30 to 9 p.m. That's at the Calvary Baptist Church, off Centerville, or Collins Avenue, off Centerville. It's about 80 persons who are going to be there who are in the shelters. So we're providing seats for those persons, and we'll be providing food. We're going to try to see if we could put some more chairs there as well. But that one is really for the persons at the shelters. The community concert, the community art show, That's on Salvation Army on Market Street. That's on November 2nd. So basically, the first Saturday, each event is basically the first Saturday in every month. Besides from the panel discussion, which is on January 19th, 2020. I know a lot of persons in our community are interested in the community concert at the Fox Hill Community Center. That's on Saturday, December 7th from 12 noon to 9 p.m. We want to do a day concert, day into the night, you know. Most of these community centers have to be closed by 10 o'clock, so we're trying to keep everything within time, within the best reasonable time. So brothers and sisters, that's the Take It to the People campaign, Take It to the People Hurricane Relief Campaign. First one, the movie night, community movie night. We're asking you to turn out to support that as best as you can. The community art show, community concert, community panel discussion, and the community sports day. So, brothers and sisters, we're going to be putting out a flyer this week, but I want you to stay tuned for that. Stay on the lookout for the community movie night. That's the first one that we're kicking off the Let's Take It to the People campaign with. And this will be all of the organizations who are part of the Africans United Coalition. Uhuru, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, the third thing I would like to talk about is that Brother Luwezi Kanshasha, Secretary General Luwezi Kanshasha from the African People's Socialist Party, who is based in London, has a great story on theburningspare.com, and he's basically calling for all of the imperialists, all of the imperialism must leave Africa. I have it here, brothers and sisters. Say, we demand all white imperialist armies out of Africa. And it's from Secretary General Luwezi Kanshasha, who is based in London, but he's from the Congo, and he's the Secretary General from the African People's Socialist Party, for the African Socialist International, sorry. It says, Africa is under siege in the most dangerous times in our national liberation struggle against Euro-American imperialism. Nothing is more dangerous than the false sense of security entertained by the African petty bourgeoisie, neo-colonial rulers, which describes our main enemy, the white imperialist powers, as partners. All countries on the African continent have no power on the world stage that they can express, because they don't have a foreign defense policy as Kwame Nkrumah requested them to do. The partner cannot hide the reality that the white nation oppresses the African nation. Wealth flows from the black nation to the white nation. Despite their differences, white power rulers from Germany, Britain, the US, and others are partners inside the white petty bourgeoisie nation against Africa and other oppressed colonial people. The European colonial departments have renamed themselves International Aid Departments or the International Cooperation Department. The US has more than 44 military bases and drones freely over the clear blue sky of Africa. The French army, with a force of about 4,000 soldiers, is in Mali on conquered land. They are also in Niger, Gabon, Chad, and the Ivory Coast. They are after our labor and natural resources, which they have been getting in abundance, first against our will, and now with the active complicity of the African petty bourgeoisie. The objective reality is that the lives of African people do not mean much in the eyes of imperialist powers. The world is accustomed to seeing Africans dying in huge numbers, starving on an astronomical scale, dehumanized on live news on all main imperialist and international media. We are bombarded with news that Africa is independent and slavery is over, apartheid ended, but the vast majority of the African masses still can't see a future under this system. The basis for white imperialist powers in Africa is to maintain colonial rule and extraction of our resources, not for protection against terrorism. White power imperialism is the terrorist. Brothers and sisters, we need imperialism to come to an end, you know. 44, the U.S. has more than 44 military bases and drones operating freely over the clear blue sky of Africa. You know, I applaud and I stand up with all the brothers and sisters who in the U.S. who march, who took part in that climate strike this week. I applaud them. I applaud them and I stand with them. But I also ask them that oil, the oil in your car, the uranium in your light bulb, the phones in your hands, all of these things are connected. The African people, the black and brown people are being exploited throughout the world, and they are being exploited by the hand of the gun. Those military bases are in Africa because they are taking our resources and they are taking it in alliance with the African petty bourgeoisie. And I agree with this article. You know, during this hurricane, we have been right here in the Bahamas. We've been having neo-colonial leaders who express power during this hurricane. But the only power they seem to have is the power to lock up the black man. But beyond that, there's no power. This whole hurricane showed that these neo-colonial puppets didn't have any power. They didn't even have power. One of the persons who was running the whole relief process said that at one point all they needed was a helicopter to be able to drop goods down to some of the persons on the Keys. These neo-colonial puppets, we didn't even have a helicopter, just so that we can get to our people on the Keys. But yet they on TV every day expressing power with power. The only power these neo-colonial puppets have is the power to oppress black people and the power to convey our resources to the imperialists. That's the only power. Beyond that, they fronting, can't do nothing but beg white power for money. Beyond that, they fronting. But brothers and sisters, I'd ask you to check out our brother Secretary General Louisi Conchacha's report on the burningspear.com. It's a good report, and it's basically saying, you know, we gotta bring an end to imperialism in Africa, man. In Africa, that's what we got. Imperialism has to end. It has to end. But brothers and sisters, there's another good story on Uhuru on the burningspear.com, and it's from Tafari Mugari. He's a brother from the African People's Socialist Party, the chair of the African People's Socialist Party in occupied Tanzania. And the title of his story is Robert Mugabe and the Class Question Towards a Liberated, United Socialist Africa. I want you to go on theburningspear.com and read that story for yourself. But he says the African liberation movement has since suffered from the petty bourgeois assumption that the greatness of a freedom fighter can be measured by comparing his or her good deeds to his or her bad deeds. While the actions of someone may give us an indication of what they are on about, that cannot solely be used to make a conclusion about whether they were revolutionary or not. Chairman Omali Yeshitela has helped us to understand that African people suffer colonial oppression as a whole, including the African petty bourgeoisie. I would ask you to go on the Uhuru News, theburningspear.com, and read that story, man. Brother Tafari is basically breaking down how it is that the black petty bourgeoisie could be progressive at some points because they're being progressive for their own aspirations, but then through part of that progressiveness, they're not trying to educate the people about like Mugabe. He was claiming to be fighting for equality in terms of the land, 70% of the land being arable land being in the hands of the whites in Zimbabwe. He was claiming to want to take this land to equally distribute amongst the Africans in Zimbabwe, but he wasn't putting out a proper plan for how the people were supposed to govern, So this is what Brother Tafarai is Tafarai Magari from the chair of the African People's Socialist Party in Azania. This is Occupied Azania. These are the things that he's talking about. He's using African internationalist theory to analyze what is going on in Azania, and so that we can probably understand how it is that we should deal with these neo-colonialist leaders, man. How we should interpret them. What role do they play in this whole thing of, I think that they play a role in just keeping African people from power, and they demystify, just spread confusion about just the power relationships. They don't speak honestly about the power relationships in these countries, these African neo-colonial leaders. They say we in power. They say we are a nation, when in fact we're not in power. When in fact we don't have a nation. But they say these things, brothers and sisters, because behind our backs, they have another alliance with the imperialists to convey our resources, to transfer our power to these imperialists for their own petty interests. You see. But anyway, brothers and sisters, check out that story on theburningspare.com. Two good stories, one from Secretary General Luwezi Kinshasa, and the other one talking about Robert Mugabe and the class question towards a liberated, unified socialist Africa, from Tafari Mugabe, chair of the African People's Socialist Party and Occupied Azania. Brothers and sisters, the International Union, the UAW, United Automobile Workers. That's what I can call them, the United Automobile Workers. But it's the International Union, International Union, United Automobile, Aerospace, and Agricultural Implement Workers of America, the UAW, United Automobile Workers. There's a story on LaborStar.org. I want you to go on that and see what's going on. This story, this labor issue is being brewing for a couple of weeks in the U.S. with General Motors, and the title of the story is "A Decade of GM's Bankruptcy. UAW members say they have sacrificed long enough on one part of the company's hefty profits." And it says, a decade ago, when General Motors was on the brink of collapse and was ushered into bankruptcy by the federal government, company's unionized workers bore a significant portion of the pain to bring the automaker back to financial health. The union workers agreed to allow General Motors to hire substantial numbers of their new members at roughly half the hourly wages of those on the payroll, and with reduced retirement benefits. Brothers and sisters, time is running out on me. I want you to go on LaborStar.org. I apologize to the members in the UAW for messing up their name, but I've been paying attention to this labor issue for quite a while, and I've also seen that the media is talking about other things with allegations made against the union leaders that don't have nothing against what to do with the union. The union is its own separate body, and that's how it should be approached. Don't let the media deviate you from what you're trying to do. And one last thing I want to say about this whole thing. Trust, I've been watching this UAW thing. The workers in the U.S. need their own party. The workers in the U.S. need a working man party. A working man party. Stop giving your energies to the Democrats and the Republicans. The workers in the U.S., the workers and the farmers need their own working man party. A working man party. That's all I gotta say. Brothers and sisters from the art and culture world, last week I made a mistake. I said that I had Cassidy. What did I say? I said that I had Cassidy 2-1. No, I have Arsenal 2-1, man. I have Arsenal 2-1. You know what I mean? I came with the Dread Man, man. I came with the Dread Man. From the sports world, brothers and sisters, I would say, you know that issue about the NCAA and in play the NCAA and players receiving compensation, wages to play. I just think that if we carefully study how youths are treated in Europe and football, and to see that David Beckham and Michael Owen and all these young players were on these teams, were part of these organizations. Manchester United and Liverpool, from they were like 10 and 11 years old, they were playing with these teams, and there was an arrangement between them and their families and the different clubs, and they didn't go to high school or school. They went to the Manchester United Academy, or they went to the Liverpool Academy. Brothers and sisters, listen. We need to be paid. We need to be paid. Anybody understands the process in Europe and football and how that is an institutionalized a way that players. And I'm not saying it's perfect in Europe, because there are so much problems in Europe. There's problems with African people in Europe in sports, but I'm saying in terms of the financial management and the players, I think that that's a situation that's dealt with completely differently on the North American continent. They're basically saying that black people can't handle their own affairs, that black people can't handle their own money. That's the only justification I see for it. Some paternalistic thing from slavery, that white people have to control black people and their affairs. But anyway, that's from the sports world. A community announcement, brothers and sisters. The Black Agenda Report team has been deeply shaken by the loss of their dear brother and managing editor Bruce Dixon. Their summer, they will be drawing on inspiration and strength from his irrepressible revolutionary fervor and example. We invite all of our friends and comrades to join with us for an evening of deep politics, stimulating discussion, and joyous music and refreshments from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturday, October 26th at the People's Forum. That's 320 West 37th Street, New York City. Go on Black Agenda Report, brothers and sisters, and check that out. But that's for, they're having an event for brother Bruce Dixon. He was a managing editor of the Black Agenda Report. Brothers and sisters, thank you for being with Alex Morley. We're on the boundaries. I'm going to be here next Sunday at 1 p.m. bringing you news and information from the African nation and from the international socialist movement. And you to the brothers from South Florida, the Rastafarian brothers from South Florida, from the southern region, who sent in the goods for the relief effort to the House of Rastafari and to the other brothers. You know, so the Yuhu to the House of Rastafari, Yuhu to the Nyabingi, Yuhuru, brothers and sisters. I'll be here next Sunday at 1 p.m. Yuhuru, one Africa, one nation.